Hello,
Good afternoon, President.
how are you? I am glad that you have joined me. The subject of today is democracy, but also I feel I did this last week. I am a bit concerned that some people I talk to on here are AI. So I don't know whether you're going to be able to switch on your camera so I can see you and make sure that you're not AI. Excellent. Thank you so much. You are definitely not AI. This is fantastic.
Good.
How are you? And where are you calling me from?
I'm calling you now from London. I'm not English, and I'm Italian American. I've been expat for many years of my life. I've been traveling around, so I've seen democracy close up, and we fought for it. We have a very clear. I have a very clear definition of democracy and freedom. And when we talk about democracy, we're talking about um, a liberty, a freedom of life, which must be upheld. Referring to politics, as you say, correct. Yes, politics is corrupted. Unfortunately, there is a division of parties, of society, of economy. There are many aspects to it, unfortunately. However, certain value must be upheld. Otherwise, dictatorship, we know from history, we know from example, especially in Africa. My wife is from South Africa, so by the way, so she has experienced a very, how do you say, hard form of dictatorship in terms of apartheid. And I'm very grateful that I'm with her, married with her so many years because she educated me in that aspect. And I know Ghana, I know other parts of the world as well. So democracy is a very important aspect of it. What's the problem? The problem is education. The problem is knowledge. Many people are influenced, unfortunately, by mass media, social coercion, and which is why, and politician uses that, or people, let's say, on power, uses that to influence their own agenda. I agree with that. However, we cannot dictate, nor can we demand to implement a situation of control or absolute control and restriction. That is part of democracy. We need to uphold these freedoms. And only with it is a struggle. Freedom is not free, as you know, President. Freedom is not a free commodity. We need to fight for it and keep it. As much as your role as a president is to keep your country safe, and your followers, um, in terms of politics aspect, international relations, and mainly also calmness and um, yeah, you don't want to be involved in wars, or you don't want to dictate to your people how to live. However, you need to uphold also certain social rules for a society to work. That doesn't mean obligation, forcing, putting on restriction on your population to behave or to act. There are rules to be followed. I agree with that.
Okay. Let me thank you for your contributions, your valuable contribution, and I respect your opinions on this. Tell me what is happening in Britain at the moment. Because as I understand it, unless I've got it wrong, Keir Starmer was elected prime minister about
Hmm.
18 months ago.
Hmm.
Before that, you had the Tories who were in power for 14 years.
Hmm.
What I am reading on social media is that Keir Starmer is not popular and they're trying to get rid of him. How could you call that democracy if the people have elected him, no matter how many people came out to vote? The fact that they elected him, surely they should allow him to remain in power until his term is up, which is 2029. I don't get it. And that's what makes a mess of democracy because he's been elected. So even if he's not performing well, he should be allowed, even though mathematically, if you think about it, if you've had a government in power for a party in power for 14 years, and they've made so much mess. How can you expect someone to resolve those problems within 18 months? Surely you should give that person 5 years to complete his term. And if he doesn't deliver, then he's removed from office. It makes a nonsense. How can you have
Yeah.
democracy where just this is the other point. This is what I don't get. As I understand it, the official opposition leader is Kemi Badenoch of the Tory party. There she has more MPs than Nigel Farage. But from where I am sitting in Africa, I hear more about Nigel Farage than about Kemi. It's almost like I have to keep asking my people, is Nigel Farage the opposition leader of His Majesty's government? I don't, and this is why, in my view, does not work.
I understand your concern and your analysis. Uh, the aspect of the UK is very similar to many other modern countries, as we call it, modern countries. Let me start with your first question. Okay, I might have to go slightly back. England, as you know, the issues with immigration, you know, the issue with political um, advertising about it, and so on and so forth. You know about racism, you've heard about tolerance, and all of that. Now, the UK, after the exit from the European Union, which we know was a big mistake, the England found itself facing a new challenge of immigration. Before that, the exit of the EU was motivated by the same feelings of Nigel Farage, from my point of view. So there is a very right, not very extreme right mentality which was created due to, I call it, social media bonanza or mass media bonanza, and from many other aspects, also economical. Unfortunately, the economy of the UK is based on services. Is based less than they don't produce. Now, Steer Karma, moving on, um, the party of Nigel Farage died and was reborn with the same aspects. Now, let's not forget that Nigel Farage is one of the best friends of Donald Trump from the beginning. And when he returned, the extreme right of our dear president, call it dear, has basically influenced many other politicians as a one way to do politics, which is complete outside the norms of people opinion. Nigel Farage came into politics as a result of 15 years or something like that of conservative power. Now, under the conservative power, 15 years was a long time if you think about it. They have the economy in the UK didn't improve; it rather, it rather got worse.
So why?
Especially,
Sorry. I know because this is fascinating. Sorry to interrupt you, but why are they blaming Tama for the economic situation when 15 years of malad administration from the Tories? How come people have forgotten? How?
fantastic. Very good question. In fact, that is exactly what is happening. Now, social media is amplifying this. The right, like Donald Trump does it in his own way with social media and with the MAGA, same thing is happening. Now, money is dictating, let's say, the propaganda aspect of it. Okay? So the conservative, they know they are to blame for many things, and they have destroyed the country, ex European Union, and mismanagement of COVID, and so on and so forth. Now, when Keir Starmer, or the Labour Party, was elected on the basis of the British mentality, and the concept of what they used to have before the Conservative. Now, whether there was better life or not, the very fact that European exit of European Union was a mistake, it was admitted, and the Labour gained from it. They have, remember, this country is in reality is very not too much of left minded, but is central left. They don't. They are not. The right wing concept has been born just recently. It's been amplified and glamorized by 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 massive advertisement about issues which every country has. We know that immigration is not an issue because immigration is actually a country blessing for improving their economy over time.
Yeah, that is a very, I keep saying to my British friends, what I don't seem to understand is that immigrants are blamed for everything.
Exactly.
If the transportation system is not working, blame the immigrants.
Hmm.
If the educational system is not working, blame the immigrants. Blame the immigrants for everything. Look, I wish we could, because there are quite a number of people who want to speak to me here today.
Yes. Okay. I agree.
Give them the time. But what I would say to you is this: I genuinely think that what Britain is suffering from is a lack of leadership, a lack of
Tolerance.
yeah,
Tolerance.
the leadership and tolerance, a lack of leadership, and the masses need to be educated. I genuinely think that Keir Starmer is being scapegoated unnecessarily because they should, and that's why for people like us, when we watch these things, what is the point of democracy? You might as well just have dictatorship for 20, 25 years. You have continuity. I know this is not popular, but it is very unstable for you to want to remove someone who's been in power for 18 months and is trying to sort out. I mean, I saw Kemi Badenoch because I understand there's a local election coming up soon, and she basically said, "We will get Britain working again." That is admission that for 14 years you were not. You made a mess. They really made a mess of the United Kingdom, and it's
I fully agree. Fully
certainly.
agree. Yes.
I,
I
I wish
remember.
I wish I could spend more time with you on this, but
You can contact me anytime you like.
I can contact you. And and this is, I'm sorry I had to ask you whether you are AI, because this is what is really interesting now on TikTok. It will do a summary of what you're discussing and say AI says that they're debating about pros and cons in democracy. It's almost like AI doesn't want you to think for yourself anymore. But I'm going to leave you at this point. I genuinely think that social media has destroyed politics around the world. I genuinely think that
Fully
it
agree.
I genuinely think, especially for when masses can't think, and that you must ban social media. That is my view. You must ban social media from any country to have.
Well, ban it. It's radical. It's again we come back to education. Technology has been moving too fast for the ability of many people to understand it, and that has brought to this situation we have now.
Look, I want to thank you. I wish we could spend more time together. I'm usually here on Saturday from 9 to 10, but I couldn't make it this morning. But I'm sure we will get a chance to talk again. Thanks for
Yeah,
enlightening. Do you honestly think that Starmer is going to survive?
I think that politically speaking, yes, he will, because the UK needs this balance of opposition. It needs it. We have 15 years of conservative. In the United States, even there, I don't believe Trump will survive, but it's a good learning curve for the future. So that's all part of a form of democracy, if you think about it.
Yeah.
The choice people have,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. But it's just the fact that you every 5 years, you, as I understand it, you elect a new government, and the new government is reversing the policies of the previous government. The country doesn't move. The country is unstable. It doesn't move at all.
Well, we have to. I agree to disagree. We have to talk about economy aspects then,
Why?
because yes, there are certain aspects of renewing policy or reversing policy, but it's not like in the United States. United States, there is a reversal, literally,
Okay.
but there is also a process to be upheld on that.
So it's just like any other thing in life. I knew I said I would let you go, but I've got to ask you this question, and don't laugh about it because it's really
No, no, I'm
important.
not laughing. No, sorry, no, I'm not laughing.
Democracy has been you've been practicing democracy in the United Kingdom for who knows how long. Yeah? Why don't you try dictatorship? Even if it's just try it and see what it feels like. Just try dictatorship. Because
Because
there are
yes, I understand your point of view. In an aspect, in a tactical aspect or in a literal aspect, dictatorship might be one of the solution. But history has taught us what dictatorship means. We have example in many other countries, and the resolution of it, it is that people, you are restricting the freedom of many, many people. We cannot forcibly demand, we cannot forcibly, stop. We need to give each person, like yourself, myself, everyone else, the liberty of choice. That is one of the main aspect, in my opinion. We need to, as a society, it needs to be a certain type of organization behind it.
Okay. I got this other question for you because I'm really enjoying this. I believe there are about 60 million people in the United Kingdom. And I believe that in terms of the turnout for Starmer, it was about 40% or so. How can you call that democracy where everyone hasn't voted? Surely you should be forcing people to vote. You should actually be saying to people that if you don't vote, it is a crime. You know, 60,
Well,
60 million
it's
people.
it's a very radical aspect, in that the voting aspect of it. I understand your motivation on that, but forcing people, again, we come back to the freedom of action. We need to have, every person has his own right and also to dictate his own life and his own choices the way he wants. We cannot get involved to one another and force us or force you to do certain things you don't want to do or you might disagree with. What we need to do is to educate the person of the reason he has to follow a civil right to benefit a society. That, in my opinion, is the key aspect of it. Uh, the fact that not everybody votes, it's it's the very aspect of freedom of choice. If that, it means they don't agree with left, they don't agree with right, they don't agree with
Yeah,
center, then there is something wrong.
but these people are representing you. If you don't vote for them, they represent you, and it affects your
Not
life.
necessarily. If I don't vote, they're not my people,
But but
because
but,
my vote.
but when they talk about taxes, when they talk about